Hey, good morning and welcome to the webinar. My name is Sarah Lucas and I am a broker advisor here at Cornerstone. I'm joined today by our level funded carrier partners, Aetna, Humana, and All Savers to discuss their level funded claims reporting. But before we get started, I have a few little housekeeping things to cover. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, be sure to leave them in the chat box on your GoToWebinar dashboard. We will answer them at the end of each session. Contact information is on the screen if you would like to get in contact with me, and don't forget to follow us on social media. We post industry and Cornerstone updates and information. Go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube to give us a follow. Cornerstone's agency services program got a bit of a facelift this year. As a Cornerstone broker, you have access to a myriad of services that can help you with business outside of your scope and planning for the future. Agency services program is designed to help you make a plan for your business, your clients, and your family, no matter the situation. Among the services provided in the ASP are the autopilot client referral program, parachute succession planning, flight plan retirement assistance, and co-pilot service agreements. Contact your Cornerstone representative today for details. If you haven't already heard, Cornerstone recently partnered with EB3, an online benefit booklet builder that is fully customizable and specifically designed with employee benefit brokers in mind. As a Cornerstone broker, you have exclusive access to this product. Contact your Cornerstone representative for details or visit our website. Now I'm going to turn it over to our first guest, Humana.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning.
Thank you, Casey.
My name is Casey Badura, and I am your retention executive for Humana. Today, we will be reviewing our level funding stop loss report. Before we get into the reporting, I would like to review a few rules of the road regarding the Humana level funded product. Our level funded product gives your groups another underwritten option and can help them stay away from community rated plans. Level funded is considered an ASO product, so groups can save some tax dollars without all of the risk of being a full ASO solution. Keep in mind, we need a minimum of 5 enrolled in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana, up to a max of 99 eligible. It makes most sense for groups under 51 on payroll. For groups domiciled in Ohio, there is a 5% chamber discount available if groups are members, or if your group is a member of the Cincinnati, USA Regional Chamber. Our wellness program, Go365, is embedded in the level funded product. However, the on-hand plans do not include Go365. For group sizes 5 to 9 enrolled, groups can enroll into 2 plan options, and 10 plus can elect up to 3. Now, I will pass the presentation over to Tara Dehart, who will walk through the stop loss report.
Good morning. I wanted to first check and make sure I'm sharing my screen correctly because this is the first time I'm using this webinar. I just wanted to make sure that I am sharing my screen for you guys.
Yep, we do see it. Thank you, Tara.
Okay. All right. Well, good morning. As Casey said, my name is Tara Dehart, and I am with Humana's ESO customer reporting team in the finance area, and I'm going to walk you guys through our monthly report, walk through a sample of the report and go through a couple of the details, and then answer any questions that anyone may have about our reporting package that we send out for our LFP groups. So just first off, I want to go through a few general notes about the report. Our report package is the only finance report that is sent out for our LFP groups, and they are sent in a Microsoft Excel format, and they are sent via email on the 5th of the following month. So right now, An example of that would be if it was the month of February that we're sending out, the groups would receive that on April 5th. The individuals that would receive that are anyone that is on record from the sold case document with Humana, and they would continue to receive that report each month and also 3 months following at the end of that contract year of the group. So just wanted to point out when the group receives that, again, it is in a Microsoft Excel format. So the groups would see either 2 or 3 tabs for their monthly report. The reason that they would get 3 tabs is they would receive a carryover report from the previous contract. If they're with us for more than 1 year, they would receive 2 tabs and only receive that carryover for 3 months of that following contract year. So here's a sample of the report, and like I said, I'll piece this out into the detail, but it's a 1-page summary. Basically, that is a cumulative value or cumulative picture for the groups for each month of their contract. Then we also include the reference sheet, which is basically a glossary of terms for all of the various fields on our reporting package. So it's a helpful guide for the groups and agents as a reminder of what each of the fields represent. So now I'll kind of piece the report apart a little bit. So that top section of the report is the dollar, we'll call it the dollar section, right? But those first 2 fields represent the paid month and the total paid claims is that first dollar field. So the total paid claims are going to be any dollars that Humana would pay on behalf of the group related to their medical claims, pharmacy claims, and obviously adjusted for any voids or recoveries, but also it has to be for dates of service within their contract. But these are summarized by the month that they're paid to the provider. The next 2 columns on the report are the claims over the specific deductible and the monthly total claim payments. So the claims over the specific deductible are any dollars, medical or pharmacy, that Humana has paid over that specific stop loss deductible for the members. That is then that reduces the monthly claim payments that is applied to their maximum claim liability. So the last 2 columns on the top section of the report are the monthly claims fund dollars and then whether the contract is at a surplus or a deficit. So the monthly claims fund dollars, that is the amount that an LFP group will pay to Humana for their maximum claim liability. So they'll pay this on a monthly basis, and this is their maximum they'll pay for their claim liability. So the last column then represents whether that group is sitting at a surplus or a deficit regarding what they've paid out of pocket. Wanted to just take a few minutes and cover and point out that for those 3 months that I mentioned that they will get the report after their contract period, which is what we refer to as the settlement period, they will continue to get the report, but they won't see any monthly claims fund dollars here because this is no longer their active contract period. This is just demonstrating the claims that we have paid for their dates of service of the contract during that settlement period. And so just to point out, you might get questions of why is this 0? Well, that's because this is their run out period for that contract. Next, I wanted to demonstrate what it would look like for a group, whether they were in a surplus or deficit when they received their last report from Humana. So this is an example of a surplus. And so again, just showing kind of the summary that they would see from the top section of the report. You'll have your total claim payments, your monthly claims fund, and whether the group is in a surplus or a deficit. So underneath that section is where we would show the amount that we would retain, Humana would retain for our runout claims, which we call terminal reserve. So that as a percentage that's stated in the contract that Humana would retain to pay claims in their runout period. That reduces the surplus, and then the amount here in this box that says contract to date projected settlement, this would be the amount that would be retained or given back to the group on their admin bill following their contract end date, as long as they renew with Humana. If the group does terminate with Humana, they forfeit any surplus balance that they have. And so here's an example of a group that would be in a deficit. So what they would see here is 0, because there is no surplus to amount to retain, for Humana to retain to pay out those reserve claims, and thus no settlement to return to the group. The next section on the report is that midsection of the report is a summary of the subscribers that are enrolled for Humana. So this is based on summarized by their coverage month and then their coverage type. So whether they're employee and a child, employee independent, but it will give you the count of subscribers for each of their coverage months. Last but not least is the bottom section of the report. And this basically just gives a breakdown of what you see in that monthly claims fund column at the top of the report for your current month. So if the report was through April 30th, then this section down here at the bottom would represent the number of enrollees or subscribers, their respective rates that the group pays for their claims fund liability, and what the result of that calculation. So their top section for that current month, then this is the detail here at the bottom. So I think I probably went through that very, very quickly. So again, wanted to thank you guys for allowing me to cover this, and then I guess open it up now for any questions, or if Casey, if you had any kind of closing comments around the report.
This is Leslie. I just wanted to point out a couple things and kind of wrap up how the claims reporting works. So keep in mind, the claims reporting isn't necessarily indicative of what a renewal increase would be. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things, because we do quite frequently have conversations, and Casey gets into this with agents more than I do, but conversations around, why is my group getting a 14% increase when they had a surplus in their claims fund? So I just wanted to point out that it's great that these level funded premium groups get a claims report, and they can see exactly the dollars they're paying in, and most employers are funding that claims fund at 110%. In the state of Ohio and Kentucky, that's the numbers we generally use. In other areas of the country, they use 120, but 110% of the claims fund. But keep in mind, there could be things, there is a 35-day lag, so there could be a new claimant right around the renewal time that might not necessarily be showing up on the claims report. Or there could be a spec hit that that they're not going to, once you hit that spec, which is $15,000, that's not going to show up on the in the claims fund, because we're taking it out of the spec. So there could be new claims, there could be spec hits. We're still tiering renewals at that preferred 1, 2, 3, or 4, manual 1, 2, 3, or 4, or substandard 1, or I'm sorry, not 4, 1, 2, 3. So P1 through S3. We're still tiering those groups. So really, if you have a group and it looks like they're running well, and then maybe they're getting a teen increase or an increase that you think, why are they getting an increase when they had a surplus? That's a conversation to have with Casey, and your Cornerstone broker representative can get you in touch, and Casey's more than happy to set up a conference call to review those. But let's talk about renewals if you're not quite sure, or hopefully everybody gets a great increase. But if you're looking at a claims fund and you're not quite sure how to explain something to an employer, we're here for you to help explain what the claims fund means, what the report means, and then also what the renewal increase means.
Thank you, Leslie. So I just have one question so far. When does the surplus get paid out exactly, and then what invoice would they expect to see that surplus on?
So the surplus would be paid out after 3 months after the contract, and it's not necessary. I'm using air quotes. Paid out is kind of a loose term. It's a credit that shows up on their admin invoice. So their the premium admin invoice that they would get in that following month. It would be a credit that shows up there.
It's going to show up as a line item on the invoice.
Thanks, Casey.
So just to piggyback on that quick, also, for example, groups that renewed January 1st of 2021, they would have seen their settlement on their May invoice.
I think that's it. So thank you so much, Humana, for joining us today. And then if there is any other questions that anyone can think of after the webinar, please just give me a call or email me directly, and then I can reach out to Humana with anything like that. So thank you so much again. And our next guest is going to be Aetna with their Aetna Funding Advantage reporting. She is not scheduled until 10:10, but I will check and see if she can come on a little bit early. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So good morning, everyone. So thank you for having me here today. Yeah, my name is Kathy Wong. I'm an account executive with Aetna responsible for existing groups in the 2 to 100 segment. So today I will be reviewing the reporting that we have available for our small group self-insured product, Aetna Funding Advantage, also known as AFA. So for our agenda today, we will review the 2 reports we offer for our small group AFA customers, along with how to set up access. The 2 reports we have is the Aetna Health Information Advantage report, also known as AHIA, and the Aetna Funding Advantage report. Okay. So the Aetna Health Information Advantage report provides a deep dive of the group's utilization and allows you to be more consultative for your group. The AHIA report is run ad hoc via our website, ahia.aetna.com. And access is set up at time of sale via signed agreements with user access designations. Plan sponsors, brokers, and general agents have access to reporting for groups with at least 5 enrolled. There is 3+ years of data available through current, and the system is refreshed the 15th of each month. We also want to just note that there is no relevant data to pull for at least 60 to 90 days post-sale. So the report includes 9 tabs. The 4 below with an asterisk are available for groups with over 20 enrolled. So due to HIPAA, we are not able to provide to groups that have under 20 subscribers enrolled. This report allows you to run specific date ranges for the data that you would like to view. You have the ability to export it to Excel and also create reporting bundles. And what that means is based on the number of reporting options we have, you can select all of them to include in your report, or only specific ones based on what you would like to take a look at. Right. So initial setup and access to the AHIA report is requested during the completion of the AFA employer application. So the groups will provide us with the contact information of who they would like to have access to their reports. And then our sales coordinators set up access within 10 to 15 business days. The users will receive their registration information via email. And we also have a dedicated reporting team that can assist you with any access issues that you may have, or if you need to provide us with any updates on your account. And we use the same process for our plan sponsors, our brokers, and general agents. Now in Producer World, which is our online broker portal, we do provide a document that has step-by-step instructions on how you can run an AHIA report. So below here on this slide is the link directly to the document, and I will show you what that looks like. So it comes in PDF, and provides a quick overview of the report, the link to the reporting website, and then below you will see step-by-step instructions on how to run the different modules that are available for the AHIA report. So after this call, I will provide Sarah with a copy of this presentation, so you will have access to a link so that you can go into Producer World and access a copy if you need that. Okay, so here you just have the different options you can select. We'll review this in the sample report, but just shows you exactly how the options you can select to run this report. Okay, so next we'll review the sample AHIA report. So there's a number of tabs of the document. The first one is the cover page, and it just simply shows the group's name, number, and then the date range that you ran the report for. The second tab is the criteria page. Large claimant threshold is $15,000. So this amount has nothing to do with the individual stop loss amount. It's only what this report indicates as a high claimant. Okay. The next tab is the table of contents. So this provides easy navigation of the report. You can simply click on the blue blue links here to take you directly to the tab that you would like to view, or you can just click on them at the bottom of this screen. Okay. The first one we have is the catastrophic claimant by medical, and it provides any medical claims over $15,000. So here in column B, you will see the total medical paid amounts. Next, we break out whether there was inpatient paid amounts or ambulatory paid amounts. We also provide the diagnosis category, the description, and whether the services were rendered in the last quarter. Next, we have the catastrophic claimant by medical and RX. So this provides the medical and RX claims that are over $15,000. So in column B are the total amounts. C and D, we break out just the pharmacy paid and then just medical. Column E and F show whether there was any inpatient paid or they were ambulatory paid. Also the diagnosis category, the description, and then again whether the services were rendered in the last quarter. So this tab and the previous tab, they're really helpful to see the type of ongoing or past high claims of a group. And especially if they are running with higher than expected claims, those will help understand why. And then when it's time for renewal, you can see and build that story of what's been going on with the group and if there's any ongoing claims that they should be aware of. Okay. Next, we have the executive summary tab. This provides a breakdown of the group's demographics by the number of employees, their members, their genders, and then we also break out by age band. So another benefit of this report is that if it's a second-year group, we do provide the prior year data. So you can see the changes year to year and determine if the group has been improving or not. So here in column C would have any prior year information. And then D would be current, and then with the percentage of change. And also we show how it relates to our book of business. Next, we have financial information, which provides the total medical and RX claims incurred by the group, how much claims have been paid. So in line 26 is the total medical and pharmacy here. Then we just break out what the total pharmacy has been and then total medical. This is helpful, to see where the claims are coming under. Sometimes you have groups that have high RX paid amounts versus medical. And then with this breakdown, you can see where those claim dollars are falling under. Next, we have the utilization information, which shows the number of admissions, the total days of care, in or outpatient surgery, doctor visits, and ER visits. And then last on this tab, we have the medical cost share information. We show what the members have paid towards their deductibles, their coinsurance, and copays, and then also what the employer cost shares are or have been. And on the right, you'll see these graphs. It's the same information we just reviewed, but we just illustrated in graph format. Okay. Next, we have the key stats by source. And this provides the RX usage under generic, brand single source, and brand multi-source. Brand single source are brand name drugs under patent with no generic equivalent. And then the brand multi-source are brand drugs where the patent has expired, and then there are generic equivalents that are available. So what we see here, I'm going to move back up to the top under generic. We show what the generic paid amount has been, and then the percentage of the generic utilization of the members of the group. So this is helpful to view. If a group has high RX usage, you can see which tiers they're falling under. And also, if you see below here where we have the brand multi-source, if you see there are paid amounts under line 28, it's a nice reminder to the plan sponsor and the members to steer them to the generic medication. This way they receive the highest level of benefits. So for this example, it's showing $0 paid, but if you were to see claims dollars paid here, it's showing that there are members utilizing a drug that does have a generic equivalent. And it's a nice reminder if you're doing mid-year reviews or at open enrollment that they should use a generic medication if it's available, because they're receiving the highest level of benefits. Right. Next, we have the key stats by RX. So this shows the demographics of the group, their number of employees, the members, the percentage of male and female, and then here on line 14, we have the number of utilizing members that are utilizing the pharmacy benefits. We also show here on line 18 the total pharmacy paid amount, and then on line 23, the number of pharmacy claims that the members have used during the duration of the date that this report was run for. Okay, and then next we have the membership enrollment by medical 4-tier. Now, this one provides the group's monthly membership. We break it out by the tier, the number of employees here under column G, and then the number of members under column H. This tab is helpful when it's time for groups to file their per query fees and they need to determine their membership information to calculate those costs. So this report does include this module. Sometimes groups are using their invoices or the records they have on information on file, but this does give you the information on the membership level of their enrollment each month for them to calculate those costs. So you can go ahead and run this tab during the date range that they need and use to calculate their membership information. What we also have in Producer Roll, which is our online broker portal, what we have called a PCORI calculator, and which would help the group calculate those PCORI fees, so they can take the information from this membership report and enter it on the PCORI calculator to determine what the fees are that they need to file and pay. Right. Next, we have our provider and network experience information. So this shows the percent of admissions in network, the percent of physician offices that were in network, and the percentage of claims paid that were in network. This is helpful for you to remind the group that they should be using in-network providers because it does drive down the employer costs as well as the members. And we would provide the prior year usage under column C, so you can see if the group has improved. And then below, again, it's just the same information listed in graph format. And then on column F, we do show what the group's usage is versus our book of business. Now, with AFA, we do have plans that utilize in-network only providers, which is the open access Aetna Select network. And these plans provide additional premium savings because of the in-network only component. So this type of information is helpful to determine if a group has high in-network usage and if it would make sense for them to offer one of these plans. Now, with the AFA product, you can offer up to 4 plans. So if you have a group that currently offers a CPOS 2 plan, which has the in and out of network benefits, and you see that they have high in-network usage, then it would be something that the group should consider offering an open access Aetna Select plan because of the additional premium savings that they can offer to their members. Right, and next we have the utilization and unit cost tab. We're going to look at columns G, H, and I that I've highlighted here. And this shows the member usage under the facility services. We provide the inpatient number of days of stay, the number of ambulatory and ER visits. We also provide professional service claims, the number of claims under PCP, specialists, then in and outpatient surgeries. And then last are the ancillary services such as radiology, lab, home health, mental health. And then again, on column G, the prior year data. So if it was a second year and beyond group, we do share the prior year usage. You can see whether or not there's been an increase or decrease of the utilization under these categories. And so the second to last tab we have is what we call the top 25 GPI groups. This is the member RX claims that fall under the common generic drug categories in the industry. So here on the left, under column A, are the different categories, the 25 listed here. We provide the number of utilizing members of a medication under these categories, the percent of compliance with our formulary, the number of claims, the percentage versus all of the pharmacy claims, what the paid amount was so far, the percent of the paid amounts, and then the average paid amount per claim and utilizing member. And then the last tab we have is the utilization detail by major diagnostic category. This provides the claim information under the major diagnostic categories. We provide the description here in column C, the number of claimants, the number of claims, whether there were any admissions in the hospital, and if there were, the total days. ALOS stands for the average length of stay, any inpatient paid amount, ambulatory, the total paid amount, and then the paid amount per claimant, per member, and then versus our book of business. So the Ahaya report is an easy way to monitor the plan's performance through our packaged and customized module topics. It also shows critical plan information in an easy-to-read format. Now, this report is extremely helpful to groups because it provides an in-depth review of their usage. And then when you have groups of over 20 enrolled, you can view the details on the high claim activity. All right, so next we will review the second report we have available. Okay. All right, and so the second one we have is the AFA report, and it's a monthly report that's available for all of our small group clients. And it's a powerful tool to show the group's aggregate dollars paid versus the actual claims of a group. And it also provides a summary level of claim-related information and how it relates back to the plan's performance year to date. We also include the current count of lives for the reporting month and also the liability limits. The reports are located on demand via the My Plan Portal website. Again, setup is at time of sale for our plan sponsors, brokers, and general agents. The groups will provide the contact information of who they would like to have access to. They would provide this information on the employer application. And our sales coordinators set up access within 10 to 15 business days. The data for this report is refreshed the last week of the month. Users receive their registration via email, and then we do have our dedicated reporting team to help you with any type of access issues or questions that you might have. Okay. So what we have here is a simple registration email that you will receive. It includes your username, your temporary password, and link to the reporting website. We ask that you activate your account within 7 days because the temporary passwords do expire. And if that does happen, you can reach out to our reporting team and they'll just send you a new one. So once your account is activated, we send emails to you within between the 15th and the 25th of each month to notify that a new report is available and that you can log into the My Plan Portal website to download a copy. Now, if it's a new group that just moved to AFA, the initial report would not be available until midway through their second month of being effective with the product. Great, so what we have here is the My Plan Portal website. You would simply log in with your username and password on the right, and then also we have a self-service feature. If you've forgotten your password or username, you can retrieve that by clicking on the links below the login box. Okay, so once you're logged in, this is the landing page. If you do have access to more than one AFA client, you can toggle between their reports by clicking on the blue link here on the right that says Change Plan Sponsor View. Now, to bring up the reports, you will click on this hyperlink up top that says Reports and File. And next, you will see a blue link that says AFA Reports. Once you click that, it will take you to the bottom of the screen here. We automatically display 3 months of reports. So here at the bottom in these blue links, you'll see the different reporting months. We have January, February, and March for this example. And then we also you have the ability to search for historical reports by searching by them for the month and year that you would like in the drop-down menus right here. All right, so before I review the sample report, I want to share a snapshot of an AFA invoice. So the monthly fees that we collect from our group are made up of 4 components. They are the admin fee, the stop loss, the expected claims funding or aggregates, and the terminal reserve fund. So when you add all of these 4 components up, it equates to the tiered rate that we would collect from each subscriber. When we're reviewing the AFA report, you will only see the expected claims fund or aggregate amount and the terminal reserve fund. Those are the only 2 that are tracked on the AFA report. The admin and stop loss is not included because those are the fixed costs. Great. Now we have, this is the sample AFA report, and again, it's also in Excel. So what we have on the top left here is the prepared date of the report, the activity, so it shows the date range for this reporting period, the customer number, the customer's name. The wireline is an internal tool that we use here to make sure the claims are flowing through to the right customer. The PSU ID is a plan sponsor ID number, and then the group's renewal date. Now I'm going to move over to the top right. What we see here is the individual stop loss. So it shows the stop loss, individual stop loss attachment point is 30,000. So any individual claims that exceed this amount will be Aetna paid. And then below we have the current estimated aggregate stop loss amount. So this is what we've calculated to be the group's max liability. Now this number may fluctuate month to month because it's based on enrollment of the group. So if there is an increase in enrollment, the aggregate that we're collecting would be higher. And then the opposite, if there's a decrease in member enrollment, the aggregate would be lower as well. So here in column B, we have the reporting month if the line data is for. So for this example, we have May through February. Column C shows the current active subscriber enrollment for the report. So you can see through the past few months, the group's enrollment has fluctuated. They had 27 subscribers, and through February, they've had 31. So there's been a change there. Column D shows any retro adjustments. So on the left, we show the retro enrollments, and then on the right, any retro terminations of the subscribers. Column E and F is the aggregate stop loss amount, also what is the expected claims fund. So this is the one component of the monthly fees that I reviewed earlier on the invoice. So this is what we've collected so far from the group. Column G and H are the customer funded claims. This represents the current month's claims that were funded by the customer. So any actual claims amount that were paid under the individual stop loss attachment point of $30,000. So we share that information by the month and then year to date. So through February for this report, the group has funded $141,545 in actual claims for their members. Column I and J are the individual stop loss claims that were funded by Aetna. So again, this individual stop loss limit is $30,000. Once a group has funded $30,000 for a member, claims over that amount would be funded and paid by Aetna. We do track that separately, and we indicate those under I and J. So for this example, beginning in November, we know that there has been one individual that has met their individual stop loss limit because Aetna has paid an additional $13,894 for a particular individual. And then year to date, we've paid $21,457 so far. Now moving over, we have the Aetna funded aggregate stop loss claims. So again, once a group has reached their aggregate, Aetna would fund and pay those claims over that amount. So for this example, the aggregate is $183,502. So again, that's the max liability that we've calculated for the group. Once they've reached that, anything above that amount would be Aetna paid. We would track it under column K and L. So for this example, it's showing $0 paid because the group has not met their aggregate yet. And how we know that is if we look at column H here, they've only funded, the members have incurred, and they've paid $141,000. So there's still a bit of ways before they reach their aggregate. And if they do, Aetna will pay for anything above that amount, and we would list those amounts under column K and L. Okay, so next we have the terminal reserve. So we collect this from the group and we use to pay run-out claims should the group terminate with us. It also contains a stop loss component. So if we pay more out than what we've collected, we won't ask the group for more monies. So then the last column we have is the surplus and deficit, and it helps determine if a group is running with higher or lower than projected claims. So if a group ends up with a surplus after renewal, they are eligible to receive 50% of the final surplus amount, which we would refund to them. Underwriting completes final accounting 90 to 150 days after renewal. And if there is a surplus, we refund 50% to the group via a direct deposit into their bank account. We don't dictate how the group needs to spend the refund. We simply refund it to the group, and then they can choose to do what they like with it. And one thing I wanted to point out is how we calculate the surplus or deficit. What we do is we take column H, we subtract, column F, we subtract column H and subtract column L. And that's what we determine what the surplus and deficit is. Okay. Now we have next the claims summary tab. So along the top is the same information we reviewed on the group on the prior tab. What we're going to look at is below. Here, column C, we provide here the claim summary dollar amounts for the month at a control suffix account level. So the control suffix account, also the CSA, indicates a medical or COBRA subgroup. So if a group has multiple plans, you will see multiple or several CSAs. So under column B here, we have the CSA numbers listed, and those refer to specific medical plans that the group has. So for this example, the group has two medical plans because we have two different CSA numbers. One ends in 703 and one ends in 704. In column C, we show what the claims that were applied towards the group aggregate stop loss were for each of those plans. So it shows what the members that were enrolled in that plan, what the group has paid for them. So for this month, the members that were enrolled under the medical plan ending in 703, there was $5,380 applied to that plan, and then $13.93 applied to the CSA ending in 704. We also show what Aetna has funded for member or members that were enrolled under those two plans. So if a member has met their stop loss, their individual stop loss point, Aetna pays anything above that $30,000, and we show that amount and which plan the member or members were enrolled under. Column E shows the totals, and then column G, H, and I shows the year-to-date amounts. And then on the bottom here, again, we show what the current estimated aggregate amount is, which is $183,501, and then what the net amount remaining is. So with the AFA report, you're able to gain insight on the plan's performance with comparison views month to date and then year to date. And with the AHIA report, it provides an in-depth analysis with specific medical and RX usage and also the high claimant information. These reports are helpful value adds for small group clients that typically do not receive them. So I hope that you found both of the reports informative and useful as an additional tool to better serve your clients. So thank you for your time today, and Sarah, pass it back to you.
Thank you so much, Kathy. That was very informative. We do just have a couple of questions for you. So the first one is, how much wiggle room do we have with renewals? Example, if a major user, major condition does leave the plan before the renewal date, can the rate increase be reduced?
We would certainly review any changes on our group. It depends on this particular situation, but I do ask that if there are changes that occur with members that may be driving the renewal increases and that are no longer part of the plan that may be included in the renewal process, you'd certainly want to let us know so we're making sure that we're providing the most accurate renewal rate for the group.
Thank you. And then the second question we have is, the utilization data on the executive summary tab is given per 1,000. How do you explain how that relates to the specific group's utilization data?
So obviously some of the small groups do not have 1,000 members. So what you would do to determine exactly what it is relating to your group is you would just divide that amount by the number of members per 1,000. So for this example, there's 51 members. You would just convert that to per 1,000, which would be 0.051, and then divided by the utilization amount that you have down here. And then it would equate to exactly what the usage would have been for the group.
Thank you. And then the last question is, will we be able to share these slides with the brokers today?
The presentation that I went through, I can share. The sample reports we're not able to provide. If you do have a specific group that is with Aetna, you have the ability to run and pull those with the specific information for the group.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Kathy, for your time today. Like I said, this was very informative, and we appreciate everything that you've done. So thank you so much, and I will be in touch if I have any other questions for you.
All right, sounds great. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so my name is Tara Spurrier, and I'm Cornerstone's Elite Broker Service Advocate. I'm here today to help explain the Employer Claims and Utilization Report. It's also known as the Executive Summary. I'm just going to highlight a few of the pages as it is a lengthy report full of information. My first stop is going to be on page 1, and this will be short. On this page, I just wanted to point out that here you can find the group specific deductible, which is the maximum the employer claim account will pay for an individual member's total eligible paid claims during the plan year. Once it is met, the excess loss policy kicks in and covers the remainder of the eligible claims for that year. Now I'm going to move on to page 2, which is the excess loss summary. And I promise I'm not going to cover each page, but page 2 is actually the most used page in this report. It will show you how the group is running for the year. This is the page you can use to determine if the group is running towards being eligible for a surplus. To do this, you're going to take the total in the maximum liability column here and subtract it from the total in the total paid claims column. If it is positive, the group may be eligible for a surplus, and if it is negative, they most likely will not. Also, if there's anything in this aggregate excess loss column, they most likely will not as well. It'll depend on the totals, where they are at in their plan year, and how much they can pay back before that plan year is up. If they end the year with an amount in this aggregate excess loss column, they are not responsible to pay it back. Now, the surplus amounts do vary by state. Kentucky and Indiana are 1/3, and Ohio is 1/2. But please note that surplus amounts have changed over the years. And to find out your group's specific surplus amount, you can call into All Savers to find out that exact amount. Now, there is a special little calculation we use to determine the eligible surplus amount, and it can be found in the Administrative Service Agreement, which is signed by the group. I did include it here on the screen. Now, I'm not a math whiz, and I have never used this calculation myself, but I wanted to show you all how the calculation is made. 5% of the maximum monthly claim liability amount for the 10th month of the agreement period, plus 10% of the maximum monthly claim liability amount for the 11th month of the agreement period, plus 25% of the maximum monthly claim liability for the 12th month of the agreement period. Now, to retrieve this report, you can get it via the broker website under the master record. Employers can also view this report from the employer portal as well. Anyone that has access to your book of business on myallsavers.com can access this report, as well as anyone who is a company contact for the group and has access to the employer portal. If the group does receive a surplus, a reconciliation report is done at the end of the 15th month, and the group will receive a check in the 16th month. If the group is not effective with All Savers at the end of the 15th month, no refund will be available to the group. So if they decide not to stick with us after their renewal, they go somewhere else, and they were eligible for a surplus, they will not receive that surplus. They have to be active with us. Also, if the group has a 15th month rate guarantee, there's no surplus share for the first 3 months. Now, there's 2 more pages of the report I just want to touch on real quickly. On page 10, you'll find the Healthiest You reporting. The very top shows you the actual count of how many members have used virtual visits, so right up here. And the bottom shows you claims that were, let me go back one, sorry. Okay. Where was I? Okay, the bottom shows you claims that were incurred by members, and these claims could have potentially been taken care of using Healthiest You, which is free to both the member and the group. So it potentially could have saved the group quite a bit of money. Now, this is just an example report. It's not a real claims report, but as you can see, it could have saved them quite a bit of money, both the member and the plan. And then lastly, on page 11, I wanted you to see that this is the claims exceeding 50%. This page shows you how many members of the group have exceeded at least 50% of the specific deductible that we talked about on the cover page. It will only show you if it is an employee, a child, or a spouse. It won't tell you the condition. It won't tell you who, due to protected health information. But it will tell you right here if it is for a condition classified as chronic. And I don't know if Donna wants to go ahead and go, or if you want to ask questions.
We can go ahead and have Donna. Yep, go ahead, Donna.
Okay, all right, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
I think so.
Okay, so like Tara mentioned, my name is Donna Hesselbeck, and I'm a sales rep in Ohio, covering Northern Kentucky as well. And what I want to do today is just take a few minutes to talk about some of All Savers' value adds. And as you guys know, you've sold All Savers before. The plan is packed with value-added programs and features that are zero cost to members. And I'm going to focus on 3 of the most popular wellness plans. But before I get into the wellness, I just want to touch base on the fact that All Savers will go down to 5 enrolled in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. So make a note, down to 5 enrolled. And in Kentucky, in Indiana, All Savers will utilize the GRX underwriting philosophy. In Ohio, we do require the applications. So make a note, Kentucky, Indiana uses GRX down to 10 enrolled. Ohio, we require applications. And then we will be accepting applications dated 120 days out for 12/1 and 1/1 effective dates, and we'll do a broker blast with Cornerstone announcing that. But I just wanted to let you know his Q4 is right around the corner, and we're already planning. So with all that being said, some of the wellness features that I really like with All Savers, the first one is Healthiest You. It's the program that allows employees to talk to a doctor from anywhere, anytime, with no copay or cost to the employee and member. And that's important to keep in mind what Tara just talked about, the reporting, and we'll get into a little bit more. So this means the employee can manage many of the situations that would normally involve a visit to a doctor's office without actually leaving home. And a statistic is over 70% of ER and urgent care visits can safely and effectively be handled over the phone. And All Savers has experienced an increase in the virtual visits during COVID, and this service is found to be easy, convenient, and like I said, and I'll reiterate again, free to the members. And another feature of Healthiest You is the ability to cover non-covered dependents that aren't currently on the All Savers medical plan. So let's say you have an employee that signs up with All Savers as employee only, but that employee has a spouse and children that are covered under another plan. They can actually cover his dependents without being actually covered under All Savers. So when you're presenting to a business owner and a group of employees, I always encourage the employees to enroll in Healthiest You prior to getting sick and actually needing the service. Healthiest You also rolled out some exciting enhancements to the virtual coverage, which includes behavioral health care. So members have access to counseling for mental health and behavioral health issues with a licensed therapist. It also includes now healthy back and neck advice and dermatology services, where members can call into Healthiest You with questions about a skin condition, a rash, maybe a suspicious mole. The doctor will want a photo and maybe connect via the webcam to avoid actually going into the office, and they can treat over the phone for those services. And you'll see that these enhancements are now included in the new member welcome kits that are sent out or available through the web. Another feature is expert medical services, which was formerly known as Best Doctors. It's also included in All Savers. So if a member is dealing with a difficult diagnosis like, say, cancer, orthopedic problems, or a complex chronic illness, They call Best Doctors and provide information about their particular illness or disease, and Best Doctors will give them like a second opinion at no additional cost. So these virtual visits are free on the All Savers plan, including the HSA plans. So all the plans with All Savers have Healthiest You. And when you're talking with a decision maker, make sure you mention that these services are not billed as a medical claim, so no cost to the member or employer, which increases the potential for the refund that Tara was talking about earlier. And that feature where you can actually look at that report and see how many people are using Healthiest You is very informative and important for that business owner to see how many people are utilizing that. Another feature, which is my favorite on All Savers, is called Motion. And Motion is included on all of the All Savers plans. Motion was rolled out as a walking program that incents employees and covered spouses to track their steps and earn dollars to offset the deductible. So if an employee and a covered spouse meet certain fit goals, they can each earn $1,095 annually, which is $2,100 to offset the medical deductible. Motion is very popular program, and we made some positive adjustments to the fit goals. So the frequency and intensity were actually lowered, making it easier for employees to actually hit the goals. Another program is called Real Appeal that was launched about 6 years ago, and it's proven to be a successful 52-week online weight loss program. It provides coaching to help members lose weight and to keep it off. What will happen is when the member signs up for Real Appeal, they're going to receive a kit at their home. It's going to be a box with there's a scale on there, recipes, fitness equipment, exercise DVDs, and other online tools that will help the employee stay on track and engage with their coach one-on-one. And there's no cost to this program as well. So those are some of the value adds that are included with All Savers at no additional cost. Does anybody have any questions for me about All Savers or any of the wellness features for the program?
Hey, Donna. So we do have one question that you talked about for the apps that are required for Kentucky and Indiana. It is 10, correct? 10 down to 10 enrolled. There's no requirement on the number of eligible?
So I work in the 2 to 50 space, but we do offer All Savers for up to 100.
Right, but I mean, like for quoting wise, are apps required for, like when does GRX quoting come into play for Kentucky and Indiana?
Correct.
So 10 enrolled?
Yes.
Perfect. And then also, will these slides be available to brokers as well?
As a small business team in Ohio, we're going to do a presentation probably in the next month or so, and then it'll be a more comprehensive deck that we'll send out. So yes, in the very, very near future.
Perfect.
And actually, all of this information is available on the All Savers website. So the information is available, but when we do the statewide call, we'll send out the presentation.
Thank you so much. And
You're
then
welcome.
the next question we have, is there a report available to let employers know how many people have hit their deductible and or out of pocket? And the answer to that is correct, and it's by request, correct?
Yes, it is by request. They would have to, that's something they can send in to, actually they can send it in to me, and then I can forward it to reporting to get the deductible. It tells you who has met the deductible. There's no protected health information in it. It just tells you who's met it. And typically it can be requested around the renewal time only.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next question I have is, For Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio, how are these surpluses paid out, and what is the percentage for each?
They're paid out via check, mailed out in the 16th month. In Kentucky and Indiana are 1/3, and Ohio is 1/2.
Perfect. I think that is all the questions I have. Go ahead.
Just to note that those surplus amounts have changed through the years. So depending on how long the group has been with All Savers, their specific surplus amount might be different.
Can you explain that a little further?
Well, so the surplus amounts change. I personally don't know who.
Yeah, Tara, let me jump in here.
Okay.
When we first rolled All Savers out, probably 5 years ago, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana were a third split, and then probably about 3.5 to 4 years ago, Ohio went to 50-50. So if you've had a group in Ohio that's been on longer than probably 4.5 to 5 years, it could be different. But everything we sell now in Ohio is 50-50. Kentucky, Indiana is 2/3 are given back.
So 2/3 are given back for Kentucky. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That makes sense. Okay, that is all the questions that I have. Thank you, Donna and Tara, so much for coming on to this webinar today. We really appreciate your partnership. And that does conclude our webinar. So thank you, brokers, for joining us today. If you would like a copy of this presentation or recording, please feel free to email me at slucas@crnstone.com. If you have a few minutes after the webinar, please take some time to fill out the survey so we can learn what content you are most interested in. Thank you to all of our carrier partners today for joining us and offering their expertise. And again, have a great day, and look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Take care.